Dr. Winters closed the door to her office with a sigh. It had been a long day already. Patients, and more patients since they opened at 9, and all of them returning. There was something about this town that made the memories want to return, but only if you tried to remove them. Sometimes, if you just let them alone, they could cloud over on their own. But that didn't seem to be the case with most of her patients. They seemed to need pruning more than others these days, and she could hardly complain about it. It certainly helped her pay the bills, but sometimes it could be a little annoying to rehash the same old stories again and again. Pamela turned on the radio and began getting her special ingredient ready for the salad that she had today. Cobb salad always went better with the childhood trauma of a recovering alcoholic. At least, she thought so. Welcome to Mountain Radio 109.7. I am, of course, the voice of Kashmir, John Marvolo. In local news, it seems that the sheriff is looking for the owner of the Dodge Charger that was left on the Stragview Road last night. He suspects they may have been drawn into the woods by something they saw on the way to work, and is hoping to find them with all their fingers and toes. The car is registered to Seth Huntley, a recent transplant to Kashmir. So, if any of you see poor Seth, maybe tell him to go get his car before it gets towed. Pamela closed her eyes as she took a bite, enjoying the strange texture of the memories as she devoured them. She knew that her kind often ate some of the more terrible emotions that came from humans, but Winter liked the taste of memories, especially when she knew that removing them had done them some good. It made her feel good to make these people feel good, and she enjoyed the peace she brought them almost as much as the sustenance they brought her. This Friday, be sure to come see Kashmir High Wendigos go teeth and claws face off against the rival Val Ravens of Ravenloft Prep. It's homecoming, so old alumni get in at half price. Dr. Winters would be sure to be there with the green and black in full display. She claimed to be an alumnus of Ravenloft, and maybe she even had been. That had been a long time ago, back when Ravenloft was just a little building where the kids learned to read and write and do sums so they could better their community. Winter approved of education, and football was one of her guilty pleasures, though Marguerite didn't seem to understand it. This segment has been brought to you by Dr. Winter's Forgetfulness Clinic. Come see what wonders Dr. Winters can perform for you. Do you have a malingering memory? Some trauma you'd just as soon forget? Well, come see Dr. Pamela Winters, a board-certified psychiatrist with a minor in memory eradication, and see what she can do for you. That's Dr. Winter's Forgetfulness Clinic, right here in Old Town. Pamela smiled as she chewed. The segment hadn't been very expensive, and there were so many new people in town these days. If she could bring in the new faces and get the memories out before they took root, then maybe she could nip more of these return clients in the bud. Who was she kidding, she thought. She'd be in business when many of them were old and gray, and she was still looking the same. It was a curse, sometimes. There's a new business in town with an interesting tagline. It appears that a Libris talent has set up shop right here in Old Town. The proprietor, Mr. Richard T. Seraph, and his charming assistant, Lucifer M. Jones, are offering to buy the talent, capital T, it says so right here in the notice, of Kashmir locals for money. In these economic times, I guess some of us can afford to let go of a little talent if it pays the bills. In other news, Winter never heard what came next. The fork in her hand made an angry snarling sound as she bent it to its breaking point and buried it in the desk. "Juliet," she snapped as she walked out to the reception area, scaring the poor girl a little as she jumped in her chair. Juliet's podcast, something true crimey and grisly, was quickly turned off, and the girl looked up at her in a way that made Winter think she could see through her mask for a moment. "Yes, ma'am?" Juliet stuttered, her tomato falling off her sandwich and onto the floor. "When is my next client?" Winter asked through gritted teeth. Juliet's lips trembled a little as she turned back to the computer, and Winter thought she looked a little scared to take her eyes off her. Well, let's see. You have an appointment at 2:30 with a... Perfect. I'll be leaving until 2:15. Hold my calls." "Doc," Juliet said, cringing a little as she got her full attention again. "Are you okay? You look mad enough to chew nails and make staples." "I am fine, Juliet. Someone has intruded on my territory, and I need to go and remind them why that is a bad idea." "Do you..." Juliet hedged a little, sounding unsure of whether she wanted to go or not. "Do you want some company?" Winter thought it over, and when Pamela answered, she sounded more like herself. "That would be lovely, Juliet. Would you like to come with me?" Is it dangerous?" Juliet asked, grabbing her purse and locking her computer. "Not for us," Winter said, with a smile that made the poor girl wince. "But for him, it could be." Juliet locked up, and the two of them headed down the street into Old Town. There was only one place he could have set up. Green Brothers Furniture had recently closed, and the space would have appealed to him. It was flashy, ostentatious, and devoid of any real character. It sounded just like him. "So, if you don't mind me asking, Doc, who are we going to see?" Dr. Winters didn't answer, and her face must have been a little scary because people were getting out of her way and not greeting her as they usually did. "It sounded like a guy, and as far as I know, you don't really truck with that crowd. You and Maggie seem pretty happy. I can't see either of you stepping out on the other." "No," Winter said curtly. "No, it isn't a lover. We're going to see my brother." If we're going to Stragview, then we could have taken the car." Winter stopped and rounded on the little receptionist. "And how do you know my brother is at Stragview?" she asked icily, and Juliet took a step back. "Doc, I've worked for you for..." Juliet licked her lips as she tried to figure it up. "Well, for a long time. I hear things, and I know you've helped him. Plus, when he came in that one time, he told me he was here to see his sister, so it wasn't hard to figure out." Winter ejected air from her nose in a decidedly grumpy way, and then turned to continue walking. "No, Juliet, we're not going to the prison. We're going to see my other brother." "I didn't know you had another one," Juliet said, more trying to keep up conversation than anything. "Oh, yes," Winter said. "I have quite a few sisters as well, but they all stay in their place, and I stay in mine. Well, they did. Suddenly, I seem to be inundated with family." "I take it you don't get on well with your family?" Juliet asked. Winter laughed. "That, my dear, is an understatement. My brother, the warden of Stragview, can be an arrogant prick, but he generally, what's the phrase, stays in his lane?" Juliet nodded. "Correct. This one, however," she spat through gritted teeth, "is a nuisance, an annoying gnat that thinks he holds more power than he does. I haven't seen him in a very long time, and I had hoped never to again." "Geez," Juliet said under her breath. "I thought holidays with my family were tense." They had come to the corner, and across the street lay what had once been a very tacky but also very nice furniture store. It had been transformed to something that looked like an office. The sign out top tasteful, but still an open challenge to her territory. "Libra's talent," she scoffed. "Of all the—" But the rest was lost in dark whispers as she and Juliet crossed the street. There was a receptionist sitting at the desk when they came in, and the sight of her took Winter's breath away. She didn't know her, of course, but she was the kind of person that Winter often saw come into the clinic. She was so damaged, her mind ravaged by whatever her brother had taken from her. Winter felt for her, and the sight of her took a little of the starch out of her sails. "Hello, welcome to Libra's Talent. Do you have an appointment?" "No," Winter said. "I'm here to see Mr. Seraph." "Mr. Seraph is currently on a business call. I can tell him you're here if you want to wait." "I'll handle this, Natalie," came a voice from behind them. "Why don't you go ahead and take your break?" Winter turned and saw the most beautiful man she had ever laid eyes on. He was young, probably barely out of high school, and his smile was so winning that she thought he might have bought it from the devil himself. He wore a pressed suit that had to be tailored, a pair of high-top sneakers that couldn't be anything but off the rack. He extended a hand to her, and Winter found herself shaking it, despite her anger. Her appraisal of him was not a fluke either, and she could see Juliet eyeing him with open astonishment. "My name is Lucifer Jones. What can I do for you today, ma'am?" The glamour was gone quickly enough, but Winter still found herself quite taken with the young man. "You can do very little for me, son. Not to insult your talents, but this is above your pay grade. Kick this one up to the boss, and do yourself a favor." The boy flashed that dazzling smile at her again, but it had even less effect this time. "I can assure you, ma'am, I'm just as capable of assisting you as my partner, Mr. Seraph. Whatever talent you may be looking to sell, I can help you and facilitate a price that works for you, and—" "Don't bother, Lucifer," came a voice from the door behind the reception desk. "My sister isn't here to sell, only to visit." Dr. Winter turned, and there he was. He was the same haggard corpse she had seen the last time he'd popped his head up, and that didn't surprise her. He'd been making deals since time was young, had sometimes met people at crossroads and sometimes at bars. He had gambled and traded for the true wealth of society, and none of them had been the wiser. Her brother, the warden of Stragview, fed on fear. Pamela Winters fed on memories. Richard T. Seraph fed on money and the power that came with it, but more importantly, he fed on the disappointment of those who realized too late what they had lost, and the greed of those who could afford it. "Lucifer," he said, coming in to take the seat that Natalie had left, "why don't you take my sister's friend here and find some lunch? I believe we may have some things to discuss." Juliet turned to look at the callow youth as he extended a hand. "There's a diner in town where the waitress is supposed to know exactly what you want. Do you know it?" Juliet nodded. "Of course. Miss Blair's is an institution. Sometimes I just think about what I'd like to try and she gives it to me, but sometimes she gives me what I really wanted," and their conversation was cut off as the door closed behind them, and the reunited siblings were left alone in the office that smelled of the ghosts of pine sol and bleach. I believe I told you, Winter began, but Mr. Seraph raised a hand and stifled a laugh, that if you ever saw me again, you would send me, how was it you put it? Send me screaming back to the deepest pits of hell where I belong. When was that? Just before the Civil War? Just before the War of 1812, she said stiltedly, and I meant it. Mr. Seraph gave her his most winning smile. Come, come, sister. Family has always been important to you. Why else would you let our brother nest not just 10 short miles from here? He has his own little nest in the hills, and he doesn't come down here and attempt to play house in my backyard either. Mr. Seraph spread his hands wide. And neither am I. I'm simply looking for a place to open a business, a place that's safe for my friends and I, and drain the people of my town of their talent while you're at it, I suppose. Mr. Seraph cocked an eyebrow. Yes, of course, a man has to eat, after all, and I doubt you've been dining on good intentions this whole time. She sighed. Why are you really here? Mr. Seraph got an odd look on his face, something Pamela hadn't seen since they were children. Was it fear? Apprehension? She didn't know, and she didn't like it. I'm in trouble, sis, he said, shame creeping in as well. Well, not me, but the people I have chosen to protect are in trouble. We ran afoul of something old, and something mean, and I fear it will follow us until we, or it, are dust. What have you been pissing off that you'll potentially bring to my town? Winter asked, arms crossed over her chest. I don't know, Mr. Seraph said. The Laughing Shadows, the Gallery as they call themselves, are not something I've encountered before. Their goals are strange, and that is saying something, given our own odd little family. Pamela felt a chill run through her. I'm familiar with them. Our brother had a similar problem, but he has mended his issues with them, so far as I know. I am afraid they will do harm to my associates, Mr. Seraph said. To my family. Natalie is damaged. You saw that, and they used her like a puppet. Lucifer is quite a lad, but they took him just as easily. I freed them, but if I were distracted or away on a job, then they would be defenseless. This place has been known to me for some time, and I know it to be hard to locate. I will do business elsewhere if you wish it, but I won't turn away people who actually want to be rid of their talents. I will, however, not seek them out, and I will promise to bring no evil down upon you or your town. I simply want to hide here. I know no better place than the protection of family, of my big sister, as it were. Pamela wanted to be moved by this statement, but Winter railed against it passionately. Their brother was a menace, a trickster. He would cause chaos wherever he was. But he was also family. Winter didn't want another predator in their forest, but Pamela knew from experience that a demon in her pocket would prove very useful, especially with her brother growing in power up the hill. 2 demons might be able to tip the scales against a third. You do not seek out any clients in my town, do you understand? You will approach no one, and you will accept the power of no one who is not strictly human. Do you understand? Richard T. Seraph raised an eyebrow at that. Are there strictly non-humans here? That is not your concern. One more thing, and this is crucial. If you break this rule, I will snatch your mortal form myself and cast you out like some stump-thumping preacher of old. You will not speak to or make any deals with the writer who lives in this town. He is black of hair and frail of mind, and I think he would like very much to be free of whatever binds him to this place. He, however, is very important to this town, and you will leave him alone. If he comes into your office, he will be turned away. Neither you nor this Lucifer Jones will take so much as a business card from him. Am I understood? Mr. Seraph seemed to contemplate this, but finally nodded. Of course, sister, of course. I believe that most of my business will be done down the road a ways. There is talent here, but I will wait for those with a mind to sell it. I thank you for your hospitality, and I pray we can rekindle the family ties we once had. Dr. Winters turned to go. You can't rekindle what we never had, brother. When Juliet returns, tell her I went back to finish my lunch. Don't come to my clinic, and if you see me on the street, cross it. She left then, still fuming. Kashmir was just full of surprises these days. Good evening, everyone. It's me, Dr. Plague. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's show. If you think you might like a little more spooky in your life, then please feel free to click on one of the videos we have up here. Maybe look at one of the playlists if you're trying to get caught up. I know, there's so many videos on the channel. There's so many series that are going at the same time. Sometimes you just need a little refresher course, and I gotta say, I always enjoy the views. If you're not subscribed, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Maybe hit the bell so you don't miss anything. We upload a lot on this channel, so you won't want to miss a single story as they come out. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click on the Amazon link down there. There's quite a few books in my Amazon account. You can have a look, and if you'd like a signed copy, get up with me through email, and I'll be happy to work something out with you. Also, there's links to my Patreon, and you can become a member on the channel if you'd like your spooky a little bit early. Patrons and members on the $5 tier get their videos 12 hours early. That's in the morning as opposed to in the evening. Patrons at the $10 level also get a signed copy of my book anytime I write one. Speaking of my patrons, you should see them appearing right now. Just wanted to take a minute to say how much I appreciate all of you. Patrons, subscribers, however you give to the channel. I really appreciate everything you do, and it truly touches me that you have chosen to support the channel in this way. Well, that's enough for now. Till next time, Dr. Plague, signing off. Have a wonderful evening.